In the last 6 days, I've earned $15,000 in revenue for our appointment setting agency and collected $11,000 in take home cash. So this video is just going to be a breakdown, a small little, actual guide for you guys just to help you guys improve at sales. Because honestly, from my own personal experience, for months on end, we were struggling to close deals. We were booking a fair few appointments, but the consistent deal closing was just not there. And fast forward to now, we've literally increased our prices and closed $15,000 in December already, and it's the 9th of December as of me recording this. So yeah, this is just going to be a few things that you can apply right away to just increase the amount of closes you're getting, one call closes for your high ticket B2B agency consulting business. First thing is just have a conversation, have a genuine conversation with the prospect. At the end of the day, you're the expert, right? They have a problem and they're coming to you for a solution. So you're the one that has to have the authority and the conviction. But at the end of the day, you're just having a conversation with these people. Where are they at right now? What's their business like? Get the specs on that. What is their actual problem, right? What have they tried to solve the problem? Have they sought help from anyone else to try and solve the problem? Get an understanding of actually what is going on in their business and be genuinely curious. You're here to have a conversation with people, and you need to detach yourself from closing, from sales, from all this garbage that you've probably got rooted in your head about closing the deal. Because as soon as you detach from the sale, I've started detaching from the sale, and I've started literally not caring whether I close the deal or not, and literally $15,000 like this. It's insane what happens when you just emotionally detach and you start genuinely caring about the prospect, and then things just become so much easier. So overall, when it comes to frameworks and specifics, all you want to do is just get the current situation, get their business specs, get what is their offer, what's their business, what's their ideal client, what's their pricing, how many clients have they got, what's their revenue, where are they at right now, what are they looking to get to in terms of revenue, what's their biggest bottleneck, specifically related to the thing that you solve. That's ideally what you want to get an admission about. Then you want to get a summary of the problem. So you want to make sure you're on the same page with the prospect and make sure you are actively listening, because there's nothing that is more effective in sales than the prospect knowing that you're actually caring and actually listening to what they have to say, instead of just reading off a script, instead of just trying to be a sales guru. Because people just want conversations and they want help. People want to buy. They just don't want to be hard sold to by sneaky people that they can smell commission breath off. You need to totally detach yourself. But basically, summarize the problem. Then it's, what have they tried to fix it, and have they worked with anyone else? And if so, why didn't that work? What was it about it that didn't work? How long ago since they did that? And then you want to get some buy-in from them, because a lot of people have been burned nowadays. So you want to get some buy-in from people that if they have been burned, well, why are they on another call with you? Push back a bit. Why, you're on a call with an agency. It's why not just keep doing what you're doing? And if it really hasn't worked out with the agencies, and usually they're going to commit to saying, well, they just can't solve the problem, which is get small buy-in. And you want to say so you don't want to allow, the fact that you've been burnt in the past, had a bad experience, to, get in the way of your future results. And they're no. And then you just continue discovery, you just get some more buy-in, this is going to help, because when you get all this information from their part, what they've tried, what hasn't worked, what the business they worked with didn't do, what was missing, that gives you so much leverage to pitch them a customized pitch, which I'll get into the pitch in just a sec, but basically that's the leverage that you need to get. Then it's essentially their desired situations, where do they want to get to. You don't need to go all weird and salesy and what will that do for you personally, and what's your motivation. You don't need to do that. Just ask them if their revenue goal is that a short-term goal, is that a long-term goal, what's the real vision for the business, where do you really want to get to? And then ask them just basically, is it more of a financially driven thing for business hiring, or is it more of a lifestyle thing? And all you need to get is the sense of, most of these people in this space are logical buyers. Yes, they're all people, but you don't need to get in the weeds. You just only need to get in the weeds about their problem, why they can't fix it, what's going on, and then you're just in ample position to just pitch your solution. Then for consequence, same thing. You don't need to be a sales guru, but just get them to admit that if everything lined up between you and them, they'd be happy to make a change. They're actually serious and they're looking to make a change. They're not just window shopping. They genuinely want to make a change, and they don't want to settle for where they are in their business. And that's it for discovery. Towards the end of discovery, all you want to do is just get them to but just relay back to you what they're looking for specifically. So you just ask, I know you said you had X, Y, Z and you're struggling with, what you mentioned. But for example, you mentioned you're struggling with the referrals. So I guess just make sure I didn't miss anything. What is it that you're really looking for specifically? Because I definitely feel we can help, but what is it you're looking for specifically, just to make sure I didn't miss anything or I didn't touch on anything. They're going to tell you exactly what they want, and then you just pitch them exactly what they want. And there's nothing disingenuous about this, because like if you actually do and you have a good service and you solve the problem, why wouldn't you want to customize the pitch to get them in when that's exactly what's going to get them over the line, if they think it's customized to them and they know that you can help them personally, not just all these clients. That's pretty much discovery summed up. You don't need to overthink it. Just think about it in these buckets. You need to get their current situation. You need to, for intro, just literally just where are you calling in from today? And then, all right, let's jump right in. And then just don't be salesy. Just say, I just want to put the spotlight on you. Just see where you're at with your business. Get a really good understanding of like if we can actually help and how we could do that. Sound good? And then you just start with discovery. You don't need to do crazy framed, any Jordan Belfort, any of this crap that a lot of sales gurus promote. And I know this because I personally couldn't close any deals, and I was being a sales guru before, and it just didn't work. You need to follow this. Literally what I'm telling you guys right now, watch this over and over again, because it really isn't that complicated. It's all just in your head when it comes to sales. And literally $15,000 in revenue in 6 days couldn't be any more proof than that. Like, it's nothing crazy. We're going to get to 30K a month, 50K a month as soon as possible, like Q1 2026. But we had solved appointment booking, but closing was the issue. And this is the kind of stuff that actually moves the needle. So that's what you want to focus on in discovery. Then for pitch, don't want to get into the nitty gritty about anything. Don't do any pitch decks. Don't do any of that stuff. Main thing you want to do is just a pillared out approach and keep them engaged throughout the whole pitch. So, as you mentioned, I know you're struggling with XYZ. And so that's why I'm going to walk you through a simple 3-pillared system. It's going to do X for you, so you can have Y. So you are struggling with XYZ. Then you go to the first pillar, like for example, for us, it's the offer. We take a look at their offer, their sales argument, just make sure it's absolutely no-brainer. And, it speaks directly to their ideal qualified lead without relying on crazy, hormozy, wild guarantees, because the market is, adapting to that. And we just make sure that, because it is the base of all the lead generation we run for you, so just want to make sure that it is going to be the base of all the lead gen that we do for you, because I know you said you're relying on referrals. And so really we want to build out just a predictable lead generation system, and the offer is going to be a huge part of that. Does that make sense? Every time you say something in the pitch, if you're talking for a bit, always get buy-in from them during the pitch. Like, does that make sense? Do you feel like this would help on the X side of things? Do you feel like this would help? Any questions about that at all? Make sure they're actually buying into the pitch and they're actually engaged, because a lot of people just don't listen properly. They're not engaged, and the pitch never lands properly. And so when you drop price, they're just totally out of it. So yeah, with pitch, pillared approach, and just, how you said you were struggling with XYZ, and then talk about what the specific pillar that solves. So like, I know you said you're struggling with XYZ, so we're going to do XYZ so that you can have desired outcome, so that you stop struggling with XYZ. Really want to customize it to their pain, to their desire. And it's a bit of paradoxical, but like, this works so much better than getting into the nitty gritty, because at the end of the day, people don't care about the system that you're running. They care about results. They might, like, if they could really, because some people ask, well, how does it actually work? You're just selling me the outcome. But like surely if they could validate whether your system worked or your specific process, they wouldn't be on the call with you. So like, it's not going to do anything for them. They're just looking for confidence and conviction that you are the person to get them what they want. So that you don't need to go into the nitty gritty. Like, that's what the service is for. You can literally say, yeah, I don't want to go into the nitty gritty, because that's kind of what the service is for. Like, what's coming up for you that's making you wonder about that. And then usually they're just going to bring about some underlying fear, which you can bank and then hold on to it, and then handle it later in objection handling. People do not need to hear about the system and the nitty gritty. It usually just turns them off, because they stop attaching value to what you're saying. So that's the pitch. Then before you go to price, just do a temp check. So based on everything you've gone through, get them to rate what you've done, what you've presented to them on a scale of 1 to 10. You want to get absolute certainty, at least an 8. Ideally a 9, even a 10 if you can. And if there's any doubt, you need to call it out and ask them why they're not a higher number. Because usually, if people aren't solid on the process and the value before you even drop price, they're just going to totally, like I said, just absolutely drop off when you get to price. So you want to make sure that they're very solid on the process. You get a 9 or a 10, and then you can get into price. How you drop price is just simply like this. Okay, cool. So to work with us, it is XK for X amount of months. That's so that we can get you to Y goal. And so that you can have access to pillar 1, 2, and 3. Silent. Let it settle for 5-10 seconds. If they say nothing, how do you feel about that? Don't say what do you think. Say how do you feel about that. If they do say something, we can get into objection handling, and I'll walk quickly through just an overview of objection handling. But basically, they're going to throw something at you. I'm going to speak to my business partner. I've been burned before. I don't trust you. I don't have the money. I need to check my finances. I don't have the time to start right now. All this stuff that they just throw at you, all these smoke screens. Basically, what you got to do is reframe the objection handling so that you're in control and you know exactly where to go. So it's about retying them into the value first before you actually start handling any objections. So no matter what they say, like probe. So like, oh, what's bringing? Like, so someone says like, you know, it's expensive. Say, oh, okay, cool. So like, when you say expensive, like, are you comparing that to anything or just like in general? And then they're going to say something. And then what you want to do is you don't want to handle any actual objections, logistical objections or fear objections. You just want to get them retied into the value. So no matter what they say, if they say they've been burnt in the past, whatever, you acknowledge these things, but you don't handle them then and there. What you do is you ask them, you know, just to take a step back. Completely appreciate you might want to think about it. You might want to speak to business partner, whatever they say. But like, you know, based on everything we've gone through the process, like you do feel like this is what you're looking for. Need to get absolute certainty. Like, yes. Do you feel like this can get you to X goal? Yes, I can. Like, if you don't get certainty here, or at least conditional certainty, because some people say, oh, I'll only know if it works. I'll only know once X, Y, Z. I'm like, you know, I completely appreciate that. But like, you know, if everything did line up and if this is exactly how it works and I do what I say I do, and this is the process that we run, pillar 1, 2, 3, you feel like this is what you need to get to X K a month. And then like, yeah, and then like, if that is how you say, then yes, I do think that. So you need to get certainty or conditional certainty. So then you can handle their later objection. But you just need to get certainty that they actually want this, because like there's no point trying to handle objections if they don't want what you sell. They need to really actually want it. Then you ask them why they think your process can work, because this gets more buy-in. So like someone could say for me, oh, why do they like my service? This is not a pitch, by the way, but like, why do they like, you know, what stands out about the process? I ask prospects this, and they're like, you know, I like the fact that you do X, Y, Z and omni-channel follow-up and AI pre-qualification, and that you're not just, you know, blasting to random leads, that you're actually working out an offer with me, like blah, blah, blah. They're going to say things that they like about what they heard, which gets them to buy into what you've just told them and just get them way more into it to potentially buy on the call. Then it's the value questions. Basically what you want to do is just, once you get to the retie, once you ask them why they think it can help, you ask them a question of if they see the value. So basically, you know, let's say we were to get you on board, or we were to get you to X K a month so that you can have XYZ desired result. Would that be worth the YK that we're asking for today? You need to get absolute certainty on this, because if they don't see the value, if they don't say yes to that, then it doesn't matter, because value at the end of the day is going to trump whatever the price is. Because if someone thought they were going to get $1 million, they'd pay someone $20K if they knew it was like the president of the United States signed a document saying, yes, this person will get $1 million if they give me $20K today. They're going to do that. So you need to get them at least conditional certainty on the value of the service. And then from there, you can start handling objections. Won't get into the nitty gritty too much about that, but basically there are logistical objections, there are emotional fear-based objections. Whenever someone chucks an emotional fear-based objection, before you try to handle that, you need to make sure that you tick off logistical objections so that you avoid smoke screens later on. So if someone's been burnt in the past, say, you know, I completely appreciate you've been burnt in the past. Like, I guess what made you hop on the call today? You know, X, Y, Z, I thought I liked your outreach, whatever. And then you're like, oh, did you think, like, what was it about that last service that you really didn't like? Oh, I didn't like, you know, this and this and this. Oh, so, you know, did they really talk to you back and forth, or like I am on this call, to really get an understanding of you and if they can help? Or no, they really didn't. Like, do you think I'm a little bit different than what you experienced last time? And they're like, yes. And like, oh, cool. And just to check, like, is money actually doable? So like, basically what you want to do is, without handling the fear, you want to sit in the pocket for all these emotional objections. It could be never invested, fear of the past, the fact that they've been burnt before, they don't trust you for whatever reason, they're skeptical. You want to sit in the pocket with these things and not actually handle them until you've ticked off money. So like, always, like, no matter what the objection is, yeah, we can definitely get into that in just a sec. But like, just to check, like, is the XK, is that actually doable for you? Then you need to get, if it's not doable, you need to figure out a payment plan. If it is doable, you can tick off money, and then you just go straight to fear. And usually you can check time as well. And, you know, there's nothing standing in the way that's stopping us from potentially getting started right now. No, not at all. And so then, you know, time is ticked off. If they do not mention a partner, do not go into partner, because they could just chuck a smoke screen at you and say, yeah, I need to speak to my business partner. But if they did speak to a partner, you definitely need to cover that as well. If they do have a partner, won't get into the nitty gritty of that. But basically, money, time, and partner all have to be ticked off before you can handle fear. And then if money is ticked off, if they've got the money, if the value is there, they want this and they see the value. If they've got the time, they've got the partner, but they're not buying, it's just fear, guys. It's literally just fear, and you can close that. with, you know, a bunch of reframes, stories, analogies. What do successful people do? Do successful people let the fact that, you know, they've had a bad experience in the past stop them from getting to where they want to go in life? Who do you want to be, this person or that person? Like, there's so many ways to do this, like reframes, binary questions. I'm in the process of like even getting better at sales, and so like we're closing deals, but like, so we close at 20% so far this month. We want to get to the 30%, 40%. So I'll make videos about specific objection handling frameworks and all this stuff that you guys can actually use. But overall, this should help, like with discovery, with pitch, with getting the value after you drop the price, no matter what they say. Get the logistical objections, and then all you've got to do is to handle fear. And then when someone's happy to pay, just make sure you've got a custom payment link set up to just pay them straight, like get them to pay it immediately. Don't like be setting up Stripe or payment links to add like friction and stuff. I made a mistake months ago where I just took too long to generate a payment link, and they just turned off and didn't want to buy. So overall, it's going to help you guys a lot, and just, yeah, apply this for sales. There'll be more sales videos coming out, and obviously on my channel, if you're not booking enough appointments, there's so many videos on the channel with like about how to book appointments with LinkedIn, cold email, even X, Instagram. There's a few old videos for that as well, but essentially how to book appointments for your high ticket agency, B2B business, consulting business. And yeah, then this is stuff you guys need to follow for sales, because it's working right now, and everything else is just outdated and doesn't work. This process is always going to work. It's timeless. And yeah, it's closed us 15K in 6 days and like 11K cash collected. So just use it. Cheers.